Welcome back to Disco Elysium, as we are finally getting on the boat.
The skiff floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
We are sure. We have made the preparations. We have closed the accounts. We have spoken to everyone. We are ready to leave. This banged up old thing, it's a Rue A72.
It'll float.
He's too banged up himself to talk with you.
You take the engine, Kim. I'll hold the boombox.
What?
What? How else do we blast Sad FM on our way to the island?
Fine. Let's blast Sad FM then.
Sad FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs. You seem to know its frequency by heart.
Well, if we're doing that, let's get it out.
The skiff floats once you get in. Remember what the net picker
Let's
said?
head on inside.
It's a small
Head on in the boat.
going back and forth.
And then head on out to the island is how it goes. You get in the boat and then you head on to the island. That's how it goes.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally.
boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance. There is very little wind here today. The ghost is standing still. You look at your arms, then the cliffs above you.
Let's go.
He whispers. And here we are. Actually on the island. A makeshift bridge. The bombs were powerful enough to break the foundation. The rusted chain trails off into the ocean.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
This leads to the depot and Land's End.
Ah, yes, so it seems.
What do you think it was used for?
For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
Lock it from whom?
From enemies. Enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
Just wanted to take a look at what our points look like. Alright, there's some stairs going up. There's also some shore over here. These tires are falling apart. They're at least 50 years old. So it seems like there are two things we're looking for on this island. One is the potential sniper point, the one point we have not examined yet. The second thing is what the twins told us, that there's a guy on this island. Oh, what was that? These stairs feel ancient. Soldiers' feet ran up them long ago. Attention, inflammable. There's a lingering trace of mazout in the air. Some fuel has leaked out of the barrel. Black, viscous.
The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea.
What is that flutter?
The flock of quail departs. Now more than 100 meters away, 102, 105.
Underneath the flutter.
On the islet, there is almost no wind, just snow quietly falling on the reeds, bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long dried leaves chafing against each other. The great ghost of the air is holding its breath.
To the west?
A silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree.
To the east.
The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand, the low tide filtered through its grains, a bird tending to its feathers. Snow falls on the water, melting away without even a whisper.
Ahead.
A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow. A big building.
Beyond that, further north.
Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. Bulrushes motionless. A flake of snow falls on an extinguished campfire. Hiss.
Below the silence?
Col de Mamadakwa.
Yeah, I remember that. Kim?
Yes?
This is where a lesser man would stop to think about the pain shooting up his right leg and into his groin. Not you. You're concentrated on how.
It's really fucking silent on this island.
It is. Is that why we are stopping?
Wait, I have to listen to one more thing.
The lieutenant nods in silence.
Open your eyes. Stop listening. Warm air from inside of the building. It's warmer there than out here. The barrel says ICM. You see a star with little specks on it. Okay, so we can go in that door. Check this out here. No way to get up there. The stairs are gone. Can we walk out on this? No. Alright, I think we have to go into the door. There we go. That's the sound. This was once an armament rest. Careful, these stairs have collapsed. Books, mostly fantastique and historical fiction. Dishes stained with sauce and fire. The survivor's kitchen. You see candles planted on a broken rangefinder. A moth-bitten bedsheet keeps the wind out. Before we look at these, can we see this point down here? This great blast door must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off of it. Alright, let's start looking around at these things. We got a fallen hour shirt. Does that mean we have all of the fallen clothes? This fallen training shirt has seen one wash too many. It retains its unusual design, one sleeve short, the other long, but little of its original colors. A giant F swooshes across its chest, now in gray. All right. Let's find all the fallen stuff. And put them on. And there we go. We are decked out in Fallen. Look at this. It gives us a +2 logic, encyclopedia +1, -1 to drama, +1 volition, and empire +1, physical instrument +1, half-light +2, pain threshold +1, hand-eye coordination +2, perception -2, reaction speed +1, savoir faire +1.
Oh, glorious Fomir. You wear the full set like a true-born hero. The ultimate performance of fun flows in you.
It's like I can do anything. Anything.
You are literally untouchable. A god among mere men. Go on. The fucking sunset awaits, Foam Rider.
Nothing is beyond us now.
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Where do these wires lead?
Downstairs, somewhere?
What kind of generator is this?
Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout.
He points to the open fuel cap on the side of the dynamo.
The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator.
Tap on the side.
A hollow ring The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
What does this mean? A generator here?
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
I meant, why is it here?
Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
Yes, the fire guy. The guy who tells the twins to put out that fire.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm.
All right, well, evidence there is someone living on the island.
There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Wait, piles of softcover books? Does he have that one Dick Mullen book? This is very important.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
How recently?
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead.
Maybe a little shut-eye? Just an hour. It's never just an hour.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. Like a dog, you lie there. You didn't realize how tired you were. Your body is still nowhere near healed.
Curl up with your knees close to your chest.
The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close. Until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening.
All right, well, we're moving around. Oh. The lieutenant is no longer here. Go outside to the beach. Yeah, the tab button, tab key, is no longer lighting anything up. What? Oh. Oh, all right. I ran all the way around. Oh, there's a point here we can look at. Doors here, closed. Feels strange somehow. You can't get in. Nope, nope. Came in here, didn't we? Or is that not the case? Seems like he keeps wanting me to run back over to this side as I'm clicking around. Okay, there. Here we go. Go down to the chain. There's something there. Walk into the water. Now. Oh, right. You see her footprints on the water. Further.
Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She seems to be in a hurry.
Hey, we finally met Dolores Day. We've got some figurines we need to give her.
Okay, don't say you need to talk right away. Melt the ice first. This way you're already talking. But you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean. Let her go. Let her go. This is the holy queen of the territories of Muindi and Insulinda. Think of the historic knowledge we could glean. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win her back.
Hey,
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm doing really good, actually. Both professionally and romantically. I've come to a fulfilling and peaceful period in my life. Well, how are you doing, Harry?
I'm in my head. I miss you.
Well, I'm in my head too. We're all in our heads.
Do you miss me there?
Sometimes. Not as often as I used to. So much time has passed. More than it seems here.
She stares at her feet, the zebra stripes on the intersection. The lights of the video rental glow in her hair.
This is everything I always warned you about.
Something is off.
I'm sorry. I was heading to the aerodrome. I just don't have time to...
She stops mid-sentence, glances to her right, then looks at her bag.
She means she doesn't have time to tend to your emotions.
You don't have time to tend to my emotions. She sighs and looks over her shoulder.
What are you doing? Stop saying things like that.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Morova. To live there, in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime.
What's in the bag?
Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality.
Crown of Immortality? Aren't you already wearing one?
Oh, this.
She corrects the wreath on her forehead.
This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over her shoulder, silence. Her nuptial gown flows in the wind, wraps around her holy body.
Anyway,
Your skin is holy and soft.
no, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not as beautiful as you always thought I was. Let's not get into.
Yeah, let's not. I'm sorry I said that.
It's okay.
She puts no effort into making it sound as if it's actually okay. Can you stay for a moment? We need to talk. We need to have one more massive, epic showdown.
No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. I have tickets for the 10:20 flight to Morova. Really. We don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us. Our love. Our unborn daughters. It's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Revachol and you. And you have to be alone. In hell. Forever. That's just the way it is.
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try now.
I mean, I wasn't thinking that we were going to kiss her. 72%, huh? I bought you this figurine of a headless fallen rider.
I don't want it. It looks expensive. I don't want it.
I thought you liked figurines. I thought the figurines were for getting you back.
That's not what figurines do, Harry.
But then the figurines don't do anything.
She looks at the headless found rider between your fingers and doesn't know what to say. The figurines don't do anything? Anything at all. But I thought the historic figure she had.
She like war games and figurines?
Yes, I thought it would be good. A form of communication where words have failed. Yes, it was a good idea, but she felt obliged by the headless found rider to give you things in return. Things she no longer wants to give you. So she refused. That's how it goes. Your figurine rider idea was naive.
Well, maybe this revolutionary figurine then. Maybe you can take this revolutionary figurine? It's got a little musket.
No, please. Please don't give me anything.
What about dice? I had some custom dice made in this place. A doomed commercial area.
Harry, I don't want things. I want to go to the aerodrome.
Okay, I won't give you things then.
I didn't ask for things. It's too late to give me anything. I would have liked these things a long time ago. The headless fallen rider especially. But now, only boring hell remains.
Her crown of hair is aglow with the red of the neon on the corner. Like this, she tramples her feet for warmth. It's getting really cold outside. I've been reading books. I've got lots of new ideas about ideology and capital.
That sounds nice, Harry, but I really don't want to argue about ideology with you right now.
This won't be an argument. It will be emotional and true.
Listen, please. It helped me realize I can't let you go because loving you is impossible. You're like a star I should follow.
A long sigh. 1 millennia in the making. Apricot-scented chewing gum brushes your cheek.
I am not a star. I'm a confused young woman eating your mind. There are no stars. There is no light. There will be no future. There is only this intersection and the aerodrome, where I must go, incessantly, brutally, utterly without redemption or hope.
But you said I have a vast soul and you'll always come back to it.
We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
Actually, you didn't say it. You wrote it in a letter, in a handwritten letter. I kept it in my paperwork.
As Queen Regnant, I write a lot of letters.
She brushes a strand of white hair out of her eye. I have it right here. Let me refresh your memory. Let's take a trip down memory lane.
Please, Harry, I just don't have time for this.
Every morning, when I step out and you're asleep behind me, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows, until by the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me completely. I step on the light rail and look back. Something, bow collector. I know it will be like this until I walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always come back to it.
Okay, stop. Yes. Are you happy now?
There's more. Kisses, kisses, kisses.
Very well. I wrote it. It was morning. You slept. There was hoarfrost on the ground when I left, on Voyager Road. It was autumn. The first autumn. But Harry, please understand, it was 1,000,000 years ago. No, it was 100 million years ago. I was someone else then, filled to the brim with love for you, hanging on your every word. Oh, Harry, you were the coolest. But I am no longer that person. This has taken her place. It will devour you. Harry, I will eat your mind.
The light of the video rental shines through her dress now. A DeLorean figure, cut in black, moves below. It's still her. Her legs, her breasts, her hips.
I was cool?
The coolest. With your leather jacket and your boot-cut pants. Smoking in the bus stop. I wanted you to be the rest of my life that day. And you were. Some of it, at least. You were my first. My first kiss. My first time to have sex. The first and worst time I fell in love. I will always have that with me. It's a fact. But that is all it is. It's like a ticket stub, Harry. It doesn't do anything anymore.
A ticket stub?
Yes, let's talk about that too. Let's bring it up, the zoo. In Le Jardin, the day we went east of the river. To the aquarium first. I was sad about my mother. I don't even know why. The shimmer of the fish tank on my face. The octopuses. It was just a day then, but to think. Were we there now, you could touch my hair, kiss me. Talk to me about anything, go virtually anywhere in the world. Not like now. Now our interactions are limited to pain and regret.
Can't you turn back to the person you were? I can see her in you, under the gown and that wreath.
And my crown of immortality? No. You scared her out of me. With your crying, the awful time we wound up having. And the cheap rental flats you could afford. Can't you see? I can never think you're cool again. I can only think that way about new people.
A cheap rental with mold on the walls and the tap dripping.
Cheap flats. So the rich man took you from me.
Yes, I have found someone. For whom I can feel the same. A copy of my love for you, only this time he is careful and rich. He will not lose me. It will go somewhere, it will grow.
Your heart burns. Through the blackness you feel the treacle of blood on the mattress below you.
Harry, do you notice how none of this is very funny?
No, this is very funny. Ha ha ha!
Stop laughing like that, please. It's scary.
What now? What happens now? What's the next thing we talk about?
Is there really anything left? If not, we can always repeat one of the things we have already talked about. Talk about it again. If you do not feel like doing that, then you should let me go to the aerodrome.
I get the feeling you're not really Dolores Day.
I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day?
She looks at you quizzically. Does not seem like a mystery she wants to get into. I've heard you before. You're the voice on the phone.
Oh, Harry, you shouldn't have done that.
She shakes her head very slowly, her white hair brushing her shoulders. Do what?
Call me like that.
You ruined it. There was still a chance. You should have waited longer. She would have called you instead.
It wasn't me. It was my hand. My fingers called you.
They shouldn't have. They really shouldn't. I was in Morova already. Safe. In the warmth of the night. Wrapped in my future love. There, I think of you less and less. Whole weeks go by without me remembering you. Months already. Soon it will be years without the hurt. I sit there in Morova, in the holy gratitude of my bliss. I put my hand on my belly and smile.
The air gets cold around you. She looks down on her stomach, then up at you. Her eyes are full of tremendous distance and mystery. The death blow is coming. Black-eyed dogs wander the alleys. Apple trees hang their bony limbs low over the patchwork of roofs. Red and black. Revachol West, the evening sun. She's left and bloomed, far away from us, our vast soul.
Well, our logic is 4. Does the chat want to try to put another point into int? Because we could try. As we listen to the hot beats coming from our boombox, we try to remember her name. 83%. Your name...
It's Dora. That's what the voice said on the phone.
Dora is short for Dolores.
Dubois, yes. Dora Dubois.
That's why I think of Dolores Day.
Why what?
Are you Dora Dubois?
Oh no. No. We're not doing that again.
That was not the death blow yet. You saved yourself. For now. Keep stumbling around and it will happen.
You're the X something.
Wasn't I Dolores Day just a second ago? Now I'm the X thing? You're confusing me. Look, I have to be at the Lausanne Aerodrome at 10:20 p.m. I still have a light rail to catch. I haven't even bought the tickets yet.
We all told you. Everyone warned you.
Who? Everyone?
Everyone.
Even ancient reptilian brain.
Literally all of you.
No, I'm glad we're having this conversation. I'm getting so much closure.
I'm glad too, but I have to go. My friends are waiting for me on the platform. I can't let them wait. It's impolite.
What?
Just saying, but we'll just look at her.
She does not look back. Instead, eyes her fingernails. They're bitten, frayed. The evening wind blows in. The gown wraps around her like a white flag. 1,000 times you've beaten animal. 1,000 times you've raised that fabric. What is underneath has always calmed you, centered you, made you sane.
You're the morning.
The morning? I don't understand.
No, I meant mourning. I'm grieving. But you're not even dead.
Oh my god, Harry, stop. I don't want to hear anything about the morning. Mourning someone who's still alive. Any of that. I can't do that anymore. I'm not 80 years old, I'm 32. People my age are not supposed to mourn.
She breathes out. It sounds more angry than a sigh. Well, either Harry married someone much younger than him, or this is an old memory.
This is a bit much for me. It feels like your ribs are cracking around your heart.
That's so hurtful.
Then why are we doing it?
The advisor to the Queen of Ceres sighs and looks down at the crumbling asphalt. On second thought, you're Dolores Day, Queen Regnant of the territories of Mundi and Insulinde, and nothing else.
Yes, Harry. I am. Things have gotten much better for me. Now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
A tiny golden watch with red straps around her bony little wrists.
But that's not a very good way for things to be.
It's not, but
She looks at her feet. Little golden sandals cover her toes. But what? Tell me there's something good.
I don't know why I said but. There is no but.
That's it?
That's it, yes. We've talked about it a million times. You will get over it, just like I did. People do. Things will get good for you again.
Well, maybe. I think I've reached the end of the investigation.
See? It just takes some time. For you, I think it'll take something like 20 years, maybe. It was hard for me, too. I used to think I couldn't live without you.
She looks you straight in the eye. Her irises are light blue, flecked with green.
But I can.
It's not. It's just not possible. It's like eating rocks. You just can't do it.
With all my strength, I can't. It's like eating rocks.
There is a silence. She looks at you, then over her shoulder, then corrects the wreath on the dome of her forehead. As you talk, it feels like chewing on gravel, granite, steel bars.
20 years? That's so much time.
Yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew.
So you felt that way once? That you can't live without me?
Yes. But that time is gone now. So very gone.
Okay then. Super okay. I still have other things I need to know.
What other things? We've been through all the things, Harry.
Well, I mean, if you're Dolores Day, that means you're a mass murderer. And one of the victims was my heart.
That is very contested by modern historians. Very contested. Plus, you're only saying this because things didn't work out between us. I have to go to the aerodrome now. I don't have time to defend myself from these accusations.
Stop making her angry. She won't start loving you again if you call her a mass murderer. Seriously.
Would you say you haven't behaved like a mass murderer with me?
You were very bad to me too. We've talked about it like 7 million times now. I don't want to do that anymore.
You're not even human.
I am actually very ordinary, Harry. Below this gown and wreath, I have an ordinary soul and ordinary thoughts. The only thing inhuman about me is this.
She looks around.
This thing you've made me into. I'm sorry for saying so, but I just hate it. What is this? This is so far gone, Harry. I don't even...
No, you're special. You had glowing lungs.
My lungs do not glow, Harry. I am just like all the others. None of us have glowing lungs. Stop making me into some kind...
I can still make your lungs glow. I know I can. If you only let me.
No answer. The arches of her brows quiver as she looks you in the eye and backs away from you. You won't do any of that. You can barely make her cry. A warm gust wraps her gown around her waist and between her thighs.
Thank you for your input, electrochemistry.
An apricot-scented ghost wafts out of her, her skin, the fabric, into the flow of the air around you. All the roads will miss her footsteps when she's gone from here. A completely different world.
I want to go back to the completely different world. The see-through world with you.
Please, Harry. I don't understand what you're saying. You're pitiful and frightening. A smoky apparition of its former self.
Well, if the chat wants to put a point into Psyche, we could Attempt to kiss? Attempt to kiss? I feel like this is the death blow that Inland Empire keeps talking about. The point went down. All right, just about half and half. Mwah.
With your feet trembling from the steps you took, tepid and fearful, you stand against her body close to you, radiating warmth. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back.
But I succeeded. The dice roll succeeded.
This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested it, and you should not have listened to me.
I feel her breath.
Her chest rising like a pillow, warm exhalations against the side of your mouth, her tender soul moving through her lungs. Hidden, distant, kept safe from you.
Her cheek against mine.
Feels like soft fuzz, a bird covered in down feathers, brushing against your broken capillaries.
Cold silver against my forehead.
The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air.
Squeeze her wrist.
Her hand does not return the grip. Her body is rigid. A current of unease courses through it.
Move your mouth.
Nothing, just pillows against you. Unresponsive, but for the taste of apricots. Apricot-scented chewing gum.
You're not kissing me back.
The moment is ending. She is going to move her face away from yours, trying hard not to look at you. When she withdrew and you held on to her hand, she tried not to look at your face and see the expression there. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I failed you.
You're the apricot chewing gum scented one.
No, I'm just Dora.
You didn't kiss me back.
She breathes out heavily, as if something painful has passed through her, and shakes her head.
Say nothing. Stand there like a useless dildo.
She shakes her head one more time. The evening wind rustles her hair, blowing old newspapers and fast food wrappings down the street.
Why didn't you kiss me back?
Why did you do that to yourself? You know I don't cheat, Harry. I never cheated on you.
That's it then.
No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you have to see.
She slides her hands down onto her chest and onto her lower stomach and smiles.
I'm pregnant.
Swallow.
You know what this means.
It's not mine.
Of course not.
She looks down at her belly, then up into your old eyes.
I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. Poverty-stricken fuck. Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions. Let's talk about something else.
No, this has to end. Do the last one. More questions. Ask more.
There's always time for more. Don't go.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the 8:30. I'm gonna go now.
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything. You should go on without me.
Actually, wait, I need to see my list again. I'm sorry. Where's my list? Wait.
No, too late now. You have forgotten your list, and the time is up. I am really going now. I must be on the 10:20 flight.
Will we ever see each other again?
I won't see you, but you will see me.
How can that be?
Oh, Harry, this is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago?
How will I see you again then?
Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental. I'm suffocatingly beautiful. And young. And I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum. Like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness. After leaving you the first time. So long ago.
But this is intolerably bad.
Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep?
Just spit out the blood and get back to work. You're badass like that,
Okay.
he says simply.
He's still worried. You must have really thrashed and squealed in your sleep.
Well, I guess this has answered the question as to why Harry attempted to drink himself to death. That has been an open question throughout the game.
Magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized.
Let's sift through them.
Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures,
Ooh, that sounds lighthearted.
popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife. Widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Lieutenant inspects a soft cover. Very low, but even we have a +1. All things communist. All right. Well, first, what's our conceptualization look like? Yeah, that's 2. All right. Do we have? Is anything happening to it with the clothes? No. We do have some conceptualization clothes. We can try to bump that up a little bit. I don't know. I kind of doubt it's going to be all that much. But conceptualization has always been a problem for us. Of course, it does mean we have to take off our sweet fawn gear. Alright, conceptualization. Intellect base +1. White satin shirt +1. Lounge jacket +1. We have some SIGs. As usual, equip, unequip, equip back.
soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories, animal adventures, a magazine for electrical engineering, and an international thriller. Also, light erotica and some historical novels from the century past.
Well, if the chat wants to increase our int by another point, it's still not going to be high. But at least it's some. %. Can we do it?
Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly light reading.
Look, Kim. Powerful communist theory, rigorous and truthful.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist student's room?
A student in the apartment building seemed to have some as well.
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Critical theory books. What do you think this means?
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting.
All right, so whoever's hanging out here maybe is a fan of the communism. Army surplus winter scarf. This scarf gives me empathy. What scarf am I wearing right now? I've got +1 Inland Empire, +1 Volition. Empathy's 5, Volition 8, Inland Empire 6. Having high Volition is a good thing. That is it's a good thing we have around our neck, I think. We have these lockers down here. Magnesium. Money and magnesium. And I assume this we can't open.
You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
What's on the other side?
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable.
How do we open this?
Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He looks at the door, then at its bigger brother, then at the lock. No, this isn't one more door. We're opening it.
All right, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open.
All right. Oh, we can see the outline of something on the other side. No, actually, we can go underneath this thing. And there we go.
Paint flicks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
Our theme music is back. Run our fingers across the keyboard.
The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
What is this then?
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here.
Did this open the blast door?
Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
Turn emergency open?
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it.
Mm-hmm.
We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
He looks into the dim light to his right. Failing that, we could go back to the mainland and get some from...
My kinema. I don't want to do that. Let's just look around.
He's not a fan of siphoning gas out of his car. I mean, who is, really?
The consul stands by, mutely.
All right, let's see if we can find some fuel. There's like a hatch here. The hatch is jammed shut. Water rushes below, far down below. Firing slit. We can't see inside. The inside of the fortress. You make out the console and the blast door. Pain in your pelvis makes you wince. Then you continue. A weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol. An old medicine cabinet newly stocked with Dramamine. Fuel canister.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B.34. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
Ah, we finally found it. Inspect the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns, and an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Pick one out of the can.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
Geometry, like the one we found at Land's End, remember?
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside, though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
Inspect the wall.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Touch the concrete first.
Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain.
Look through the hole in the concrete.
The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation. A tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water. The ruins look familiar.
On the left?
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B.
On the right?
The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area.
And between the two?
The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. You see a small fleck of white on the rooftop. The upstairs window of Clausia's room. In the snow, reflecting light.
Motherfucker.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that.
Kim, with a pair of binoculars, I would be able to see inside the room.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
Cheek against a cheek rest. Hand on the hair trigger. On a calm day like this.
Kim, I could make it. I could make the shot.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Why didn't we come here before?
Why? We don't go everywhere in the 1,000-meter radius of the crime scene. That's not procedure.
I guess you're right.
He looks north, over the fortification. Then at the mattress.
Could the shooter still be here?
Where?
Right here. As we point at the mattress.
You think so? We would see them if they were here.
Perhaps it's a...
Phasmid.
No, officer. It's not an invisible shooter. But this island, on the other hand.
You think he's here?
Or she. We should move.
Turn away. Alright, gonna have to keep our eyes open. And be very stealthy. I guess we turned down the volume on our boombox. Because of the stealth. You feel eyes on your back. Someone's watching, but you can't say where. That's what I was looking for.
A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Leave it all and walk in with a bottle in your hand.
A bottle in my hand?
Always.
Why?
Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been. In front of the video rental, on the corner, at the crossing, smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal. Maybe you know it's going to hurt.
But it's cold.
Yes, cold and still. But love is warm, like the inside of her mouth.
No.
Yes. No. We're not starting with that. Not now. Not this time. This thought is over.
Thank you, Volition. Raise your sight.
In the snowing mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long.
Sorry about that, Kim. I was just hearing the call of the void. The winch is broken. Rust has eaten what remains of the chain. The depot that supplied this chain is long gone from the coast. I don't think there's anything reason to be on that. The ice cracks under your feet. Be careful not to fall through. The distant sound of cargo ships, signal horns echo on the water. Must have been a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. Don't think we can go to the left. We should take a look at, let's see. Not that. This. There's still some fuel in the battered canister. A liter or two. The metal looks decades old. The logo of the automotive manufacturer LUM has faded on the side. Get up to here to put the fuel in that.
This old cylindrical jet.
Pour that fuel in.
The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch.
Pull the rope.
The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
All right. Let's get back down to that control switch.
A dim golden glow.
It's on. Turn emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in. A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl.
After you.
Before, outside, when we were walking across the sand, I felt someone watching me.
So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here.
What's there?
I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
I'm scared.
Don't be. I have a gun.
He takes out his sidearm, checks the barrel, and holsters it again. I also have a gun.
I know. It was not easy to acquire.
It wasn't. Although, I only found 2 bullets during our adventures, and both of those were fired during that fight. So, I don't think my gun is actually loaded. Let's go. Probably should check that. Bullets? No, 1 bullet. We have a single bullet. What's that? Walk slow. Might be dangerous. Well, we will walk slow, if that's what it advised. The rubber dinghy, it's deflated, broken. That makes 2 of us. Small white flowers blossom all around you. And would this be the fireman?
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out their fire? 2 twins?
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his left side. His right side remains motionless.
Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
Fuel the generator and use the console.
I should have burned that console down.
How did you know it was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Well, I mean, I guess that is our thing.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
It's not rock and roll. It was sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie.
This guy is racking up a ton of left-wing points right now.
The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music.
Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
Is that a Belle McGrave?
It's a Triangong 446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
The Sinyao commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board.
His gaze turns inwards. Your weapon has stayed true to you. Mine has stayed true to me too.
Yes, I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
His grip on the rifle tightens.
We have come to ask you questions. Nothing more.
The lieutenant puts his hand on his holster.
If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Another spitball lands in the ashes. That's all the answer he gives. The danger levels here are hard to read. One moment he's a fire, the next, a fire gone out.
I'm with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move.
No.
Lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's head and says,
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
The old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then looks at it lying there.
Like an amputated limb in the sand.
Let's pick it up.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times.
Inspect it closer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
This rifle has been patched and modified several times.
I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him.
It's as he said, it's a Triangong made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belle McGrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
This uses jacketed ammunition, 4.46.
The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this.
Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
Okay, so we found an actual real communist as opposed to us who've just been sort of pretending to be one, just kind of playing at it with our left-wing theory and our arguments that go into the night.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
You've been on this island for 43 years?
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was in Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was on E48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
That's steadfast.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't.
You couldn't give up.
He nods. But he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk.
I mean, it's just like a couple minutes if you run, as we do. What's this walking business?
The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution.
She better come. I, too, have given my life to Mazovian socioeconomics.
A waste. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
You said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith.
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took.
For what?
For reaction to take hold.
What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
Yes, we all have a tiny bourgeois person in us, trying to run away.
He does not seemingly react to what you said. Only his right brow moves a little. He does not believe a police officer is genuinely revolutionary.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower,
He gestures toward it.
huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
He looks at the sky. What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Some kind of great terror. Worse than you've ever seen.
Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know
What?
that the bourgeois are not human.
Say nothing.
I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. What is this place? This island?
It's not an island, Dwight. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
What was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing? Retaking of Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
Murderers. I know what you mean.
You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis.
Iblis?
The black-eyed angel.
How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal
What do you steal?
supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
We have Druamine and other opioid-based painkillers. They're wonderful.
I have been running out of that stuff.
A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
You like that Druamine, don't you?
It's the little joys. A dark joke. A sunshiny day. Morphine.
This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over, and we can do it.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
I also live in hell. Oh, actually, Kim's about to say something.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes. His face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
Have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsoff coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead.
How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
The weapons cache under Songa's Lane 22B, in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belmer graves, right?
They were damaged beyond use.
I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights, ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves?
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
One more question. Do you smoke Tiamatori cigarettes?
I do.
Ever smoke them on the mainland?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
Tell me another thing.
The old man looks across the water at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit.
So you're a communist soldier from the communist army?
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
What does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the commune.
The lieutenant says softly.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology, he was like a cleric, a shepherd.
You were like a priest?
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
That means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm also a communist.
No, you're not. You're a liberast.
Liberast?
A liberal and a pederast. It's what most liberals are.
I'm not a liberal. I told you I'm a communist.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology.
He then turns to the old man.
We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
Oh, right, the murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism.
I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
What's her composure like? It's not doing so well, that composure. What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while.
But what?
This is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
Well, that was a lot of skills giving me advice about this. Rhetoric says go in straight. Hand-eye coordination says do it slow and steady. Well, alright, let's go in straight. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Crenell?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. Fascist death squad really is not an exaggeration, considering what side we saw of them.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Tear into him. Pile it on him. Everything you got on him. The more, the better. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
Well, I don't need your cooperation. I've got this.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. So he saw you. Okay, so what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. You think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
That was a lengthy quest. The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more.
Like a marionette on some invisible string.
We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You have been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
The view was perfect. With a pair of binoculars, I could have seen in the room.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Another sudden twitch, then one more, one in his right eye. What am I forgetting?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up.
Did we smack ourselves the second time to remember that? Of course. Thank you, Head. Thank you.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
There were Maybells behind the victim's window.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinez. Only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
Curious tremor passes his face. A young woman called Klasia. Ring any bells? These dried flowers were behind her window.
Classier.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm.
Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa. Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dross.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of his worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is called Sensorique, and the size is 42 to 44. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
The lieutenant comes to the same conclusion. Well? Does the chat want to give another point to drama? Well, this would be int. To decide that maybe it could be easier, well, simpler than that. %.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there, near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer, armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood.
He was a killer, but he was still under the protection of the law.
Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop eating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He breathes through flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him?
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling.
Just nod.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
There, a hot flash of rage almost carries the smile away. Some dark peace.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own, and so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at Dan, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it,
Click.
If it's part of the shit you see,
then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
what specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
You were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. that too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. The caliber of bullet he used does not do that kind of damage.
How long had you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Some kind of hidden container on the coast? You looked into it?
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean...
Moving on, did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
How did you see all this? The bruises? That she was beaten?
I'm not blind, am I?
Reaction speed 4, footprints in the dust. Could have changed shoes. Reaction speed is what? It's 4. Well, why not?
It quickly comes to you.
Ever see her through a window on a roof?
Mm-hmm. Bending like a bow against the glass.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling and rags. Those were your footprints. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
And that too?
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
He keeps shaking his head.
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over. I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points toward the whirling in rags. Did you have feelings for that woman?
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others?
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left the dried flowers behind her window?
No.
He starts to shake his head again, a sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of our room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells?
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
It's as if something put the thought there to leave the flowers.
Something put the thought in you. A compulsion.
What do you mean, put?
He raises his eyes. They're round and wide.
A brief flash of terror.
I just got this feeling from what you said. Do you agree?
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.
A sudden pang of rage.
If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
He wipes his eye.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him. It was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away, but she let us hear first. She figured out someone was watching her from the sea fort.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew.
He sighs.
She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, cold rain falls on 40-story towers. Above them, Lausanne Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the grey sky by a web of suspension wiring encircled by hybrid aircraft.
Look north.
On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghosts of the city she's leaving, for another, far south, smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. There, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. The ruins of a sea fort stick out of the water, built by Philippe II, reappropriated by the Commune, then lost in the landing. He's there, doing what exactly I don't know. Satellite Officer Vic Mayer points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstam is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place where...
His voice trails up.
As the 3 walk down the jetty.
What interesting little place. The only place I know around here that you can get coffee from is the Whirling.
As the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification in the rain, like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
And looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
Detest pushes the cobwebs out of his eyes. Pushes the melancholy aside. He relishes it.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries.
We did encounter a bit of that in our investigation, yes?
Pump full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Anything more?
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
Hey, those boom-boom morons in the church are our friends. That all?
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no.
Yeah, and who killed the gun-toting porcelain men? You know, little credit might be nice.
The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too.
Well, I mean, I guess I then have some good news for you about him.
Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
The child sex thing, you keep mentioning that. You keep mentioning that repeatedly. Say nothing.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt Frisell is now dead.
Now, I have some questions about this.
We did good when we pushed him under the horse car. Until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
He breathes in, his breath heavy with hatred. You cannot make out a single word. Well, good, because he better not badmouth the disco whores. We like the disco whores.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. What was that about? Steroids? It piqued your interest. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating. Ask about that cock on parade too. Make sure you get everything here.
Yeah, we'll get everyone's questions in. Disco whores?
Whores.
Is all he says. Even that word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. But I thought communists loved whores. Am I wrong about that? And the racist on the gates. Pump full of steroids?
Yes, steroids. A racist on steroids.
You mean Measurehead, right? What's your opinion on him?
What is my opinion? You think the rich man has an opinion on this idiocy? Is the rich man on the radio telling you his opinion? No. The rich man's looking at real estate and fiddling his kids, wading through the corpses.
Ha, yes, but he was there. Why was he there if you can't have an opinion?
Then why was he there?
Scratching away at the race question. You moral intern monkeys keep the conversation going on Channel 4, helping the rich man conduct his swindle with this inanity. You think the rich man cares about your little race games? He rules the whole world, and he laughs at your moral soliloquies.
He stares into the dead embers. Something about the statue on the roundabout and the syphilis?
Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
Abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
Yes, we heard about his legendary cocainium. Well, some might call it a problem. Electrochemistry would not call it a problem.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them.
But it's still there.
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Yeah, I believe we did learn about this before, because cynical advertising yuppies erected a deconstructed version of it.
That's right. Some advertising cockroaches erected a cynical deconstruction of it. We tore it down with honest working-class plastic explosives. And there it is again.
He shakes his head in disgust.
Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
You mentioned that the Union is social democratic, and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy, the true enemy of the proletariat, placating the masses.
Wow, he's so left-wing. The unions are not left-wing enough. They don't go far enough.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment? Everhart Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation, the smart one.
Well, I mean, it's kind of crass to bring it up, but he might actually have a physical problem reaching back there. He probably has some kind of tool to help him. So the brains of the operation, you mean his brother? He never showed up in the game.
Edgar.
You mean Edgar, Everhart's brother?
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
You've talked to Edgar?
First against the wall with him.
He stopped poking at the ash now, just shakes his head.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I've hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
Ah,
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
he points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clares came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here?
Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Crenel mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
He coughs.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something.
58%. Talk to Everard about previous forewoman. Oh yeah. The person who was in power in the Union before the Clares. Our cigarettes are still going. Well, do you want to try to increase the int by a point? And see if we can make the connection. Did Edgar put this man up to somehow intimidating the previous leader of the Union? Is that how they came into power? 72%. What's the deal between him and Edgar?
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
20 years ago, when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they?
Hey.
A sputter from the old man.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
Who did?
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
His eyes glisten suddenly with hatred.
Bordering on sentimentality, it drips out of him. Tempered by something familiar to you. A familiar rage.
She was also a woman, wasn't she? Like that Klasya.
She was. And she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muskova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work.
And then she just disappeared.
Called in, they say. On the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
He squints and smiles at the black logs. Yeah, that's a story we heard a while back, that she didn't show up for the vote on the new Union leader, which is how the Clares ended up getting into power.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No. I guess it was not.
You could swear you see the embers glow again under his eyes on the dust. Edgar had someone make the call. Why is that, Mr. Dross?
She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river. The truth.
Why?
Because she was dead.
How come?
Because the cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal, grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job on a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her and the ruins.
You shot her.
Someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is...
Another big spike of rage. Different from the one he has for her.
nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal.
Sputter again. Nothing more.
If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could work.
The lieutenant says in a voice even calmer, as if it were nothing at all.
We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
But you did do it.
I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
He looks to the city.
The same old freezing hatred. There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter if he confesses to killing the former Union leader, because even if there was a case, it's probably much too late to actually try to do anything against the Clares. By the cock parading in his colorful uniform, you mean Renee?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June.
I mean, all you need are 2 balls and a few balls, I guess, and a little bit of land. That sounds like a working class game. It doesn't sound like you're taking away from the working class to play the game, like, you know, your golf, which requires large tracts of land. It's just like a little bit of land. There's like a few balls. You throw the balls against each other.
Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot's plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor.
Just nod.
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him personally, his make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one, that one.
With his shaky finger, he points to the city, towards the crater near the plaza where a lonely pine tree stands.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
There's no one there.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
He whispers with such predatory hunger. It borders on longing.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
A treat. Better served for later. He's a pleasure delayer.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think. No, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel.
He lets out a wistful sigh.
Better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one. For him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Renee is dead. He died of old age a couple of days ago.
No.
Yes.
I waited too long. I waited too long and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck him.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
You had 1,000 chances to kill him.
And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust.
You cared about him?
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. Now, God damn this world.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
The old communard says, staring at the ground, seemingly to the island you're on. Are you okay, Mr. Dross? To go on?
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
Now that's colonizing the Pale is quite a plan.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
I'm glad we talked about this. Now.
Glad we talked about what?
Another erratic gesture. He's trembling. Composure. %. 72%. Do you want to put a point into Motorix? And maybe we can do a legendary check to assess the body language. %. Assess that body language.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild,
He's surprisingly okay.
indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
Animated? By what?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads. as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system.
Dementia? The ward?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
Mr. Dross, are you on some kind of a psychoactive substance?
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
You said you take painkillers.
The lieutenant follows your lead.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses, not enough money for a greedy doctor.
It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Well, Pyrrolidon, I think, was a downer. Are you on amphetamines?
Like some kind of decadent rock star.
He doesn't dignify it with more of an answer. Okay, let's ask about the Pyrrolidon.
I don't know what that is.
He shakes his head. Mr. Dross, are you okay? How is your memory?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
Something we haven't tried? Are there drugs that we haven't tried? We've tried all the drugs that we've come across, haven't we? I mean, aside from that, like, blue alcohol, that probably would have killed us. We didn't do that. Well, looks like there's only one thing we can say. Josef Lilianovich Dross, you are under arrest for the murder of the Crenel colonel here in Martinez.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But
Do you understand, sir?
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
It's a big, big check. Well, we can't put points into perception. 'Cause we already have the maximum learning cap in that. Well, we're not holding speed. Well, let's first say, well, sometimes a red check is only... Sometimes it goes away if you don't take it, and then sometimes it stays if you take the other options. I don't... It's never really... There's no distinction, really, between which one, unfortunately. Well... The only one thing I can do is ask the chat for a Motorix buff. Increase perception to 8. And boost this a little bit. To see, well, to hear if we can hear something. That I guess is difficult to hear. 72%. Wait.
You thought you heard something. But it's just the reeds.
No, it was too hard. We couldn't hear it.
Maybe we could all fit in there.
First say, does it have room for 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
Who watches him there while I come back for you?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian, you could ask her maybe.
Maybe I can ask the net picker to watch him.
This is no harmless old man.
The lieutenant shakes his head.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now.
Listen now? Well, I don't seem to have an option to listen now. You could come back for me once you've taken him to the precinct.
No, it would take a whole day on this island. You go and transport the prisoner. I'll be here. I can escort him to the pier with you.
No need to be polite. I'll do it.
This world. What are you talking about? Is this... us?
Your skin is crawling suddenly. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
Aw, shit. We are a real cryptozoologist now. What is that?
What are you talking about?
The old man looks at the reeds, then at you. The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
He looks confused.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster to grab the gun.
There is. I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Kim, can you see it?
I can see it.
Kim can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence. Its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The lieutenant whispers and takes a step towards the giant arthropod. And the conversation has ended. Inspect the phasmid. Does the phasmid like music?
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks.
Electrochemistry, you're always talking. Surely you can succeed here. 97% +3, leanest childhood experience +1. Your corpse will be marked by something. +1, laid the pheromone on thick.
Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Like laughter, a sort of happiness. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Kim, take the picture.
Okay.
With a slow ring of metal, the lieutenant slides the lens open and raises it to eye level.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you. The sweat on your arms feels cold as ice, as if you're frozen as well, in the shadow of this great statue of chitinous marble.
I got it.
You hear the lieutenant whisper as the creature's shape develops onto photo paper in his hand. A polychrome ghost of white streaks against the reeds in the sky, and you as a shadow before it.
For all time.
Slowly reach out and touch the creature's whisker.
The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the chitin curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. The sensation is electrifying, resounding through your body. Looks like someone's got hurt in a fight. This antennae is much smaller than the other one.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
Carefully pet its scythe-like forearm.
The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. Warning! It's about to move. You can sense it.
Run your hand up the slender limb, higher.
A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system.
We got it.
Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you.
Hello, I'm Harry. I don't really know who I am.
No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you.
Stand on your tiptoes and look more closely.
You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. The faintest smell like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Kim, it's foaming.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The lieutenant watches you apprehensively.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning. Apricot blossoms, white blossoms erupting, a sensation like cold hands on your face.
Inland Empire, very high. 1+1 spoke to the hanged man. +2 did not give up on Phasmid. +1 knows of parthenogenesis.
I exist.
I exist too.
Tell me what it's like for you.
I'm ill.
What is your illness?
In my heart, for me it's sadness. Input after input.
For me, it is not like that. I have states, not the emotions. For example, I experience excitement at unexpected sugar rewards. But that is not important.
Well, we all react that way to unexpected sugar.
Now I will tell you how it is for me. For me, It is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist.
Intruded upon by what?
Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms. All speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never ache.
You're the type of animal I would like to be.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Why do you ask?
Sometimes, when molting, I regrow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced a missing antenna.
That's cool.
No, the leg tried to move around independently, making it hard to walk.
You don't have a foot there now.
Yes. Thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molded, I grew an antenna again.
This would explain its antenna being smaller.
This is the explanation I came up with.
No, it's what the 3 meters tall stick insect came up with.
Well, all's well that ends well.
Yes, I am lucky. It is nothing compared to the horror that is you, with all of creation reflected in your forebrain. A nerve mirror of horrifying fidelity, constant, never-ending damnation.
It would take 1,000,000 years of evolution, or a total reversal in the condition of the world, for your pain to end.
I'm a detective.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect?
I was born to detect you.
Yes. No one detected me for such a long, long time. For thousands of years. I dithered, out of sight. Trapped myself in greenery.
This is my masterpiece.
No one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective. Dripping off blood that smells like strawberries. Across the calm sea. The first in 1,000 years.
Is this a dream? What is happening?
No, you're awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real.
Where does this come from? All this, around us, the world.
Not even the birds know that. Not even a water lily.
Then all we can do is beat our fists against it, day after day, with no answer?
You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read.
Wait, so
You look like a reed, and you eat reeds?
Yes, they don't mind.
Have you accidentally eaten another reed phasmid?
Yes, I once cloned myself and ate the little ones. It was winter, and I woke up at the wrong time. It was an accident.
Oh, maybe we won't mention that again. What exactly are you?
I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmadia, endemic to the Insulandian Isoma. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys.
it may have unknown, dangerous biochemical characteristics that help it maintain its camouflage.
No, no one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective. Dripping off blood that smells like strawberries. Across the calm sea. The first in 1,000 years. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Rebelshaw, district of Martinez, March 51.
Are you poisonous?
Yes, I do not have a starter display, so I use a neurodegenerative element to aid in camouflage. Do not worry. It is only destructive over long periods of time.
The deserter. He's been here for a long time.
That's insane.
No, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile simian nerve system ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all.
Wait, the Pale is human-made?
It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind.
I don't have that kind of power.
You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident.
How?
We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Worse how?
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if you misplace us all one day, or just forget?
Have I always thought this way?
No, you're only thinking it now. This is a revelation.
I've already forgotten the whole world once, when I drank too much.
So it is already happening. Soon, one of you will close your eyes and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
Kim, am I having a violent epileptic seizure?
It doesn't look like that, no.
What does it look like?
You're just staring at it.
Then I think I'm having a vision about the final fate of mankind.
Okay. Is it somehow related to the case?
Sort of.
I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
I have to say goodbye now. I have no more thoughts. That was all.
No, there is one more.
All the creatures I've met, you are the most beautiful.
Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman. Turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class.
I will. Comrade.
She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Raise my hand slowly.
The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. No, stop. Be afraid.
Raise the other hand too.
As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you, praying to you.
Don't pray to me. I'm nothing.
The reed creature does not stop its stridulations. It towers above you, parting the reeds it emerged from. Tuft-like structures still rustle on its joints. Perhaps it is preparing to eat its god.
You would think that, Half-Light. Disengage slowly.
As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface.
And off it goes. It's a good thing we got Lena's address.
And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone.
The lieutenant looks north, with his hand raised to his brow. He can walk on water?
Apparently, yes. Like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What is that in the reeds?
Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
What now?
What now?
The old man behind you repeats suddenly. He's put his hand into the ash. It's dirty and black.
In some kind of strange, semi-catatonic state.
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
Phasma's gone. Check up on the deserter now. And we will. Next time on Disco Elysium, because we've been playing this for 3 hours straight. We had a very long conversation with the murderer, but we finally came to the conclusion of who did it. And then we were interrupted by the Insulindian Phasmid, who was just hanging out here. And we had a nice chat. And I feel like we have to be right at the end, but it's way too late. So that means next time we will complete Disco Elysium. We will go back. I assume we're going to be going back to the mainland, and we will report our findings. The mystery has been solved. The mystery of who killed the mercenary, and more importantly, the mystery of the Insulindian Phasmid. We'll finish Disco Elysium next time.